Part 1. Megan Fox and Brian Austin Green. Okay, so Megan Fox was born May 16th, 1986. She is a Taurus sun, a Leo moon, and a Capricorn rising, and her midheaven is in Scorpio. Brian Austin Green is a Cancer sun. He was born July 15th, 1973. Capricorn moon, Libra rising, and Cancer midheaven. So the former couple first crossed paths when filming Hope and Faith in 2004. She was 18, he was 31. So Brian Austin Green guest stars in an episode. If you don't know what 90210 is, it was kind of like a soap opera. And if you watch interviews with people who were in their late teens, early 20s in the 90s, for example, like Paris Hilton and Nicole, they said they would call each other after every episode. I also had the opportunity to interview Nicole Brown Simpson's sisters, and they said that Nicole would call them in between commercial breaks. Like, it was a really, really addicting show, as all drama is. So Brian Austin Green is like famous for being on 90210. That's kind of like where people know him the most. In the episode, this is Megan Fox in the episode where she met Brian Austin Green. So basically, Kelly Ripa is in the show, and she flashes back. Her name is Faith, right? She flashes back to Thanksgiving, where she told her family she was a successful actress who was dating Brian Austin Green. Megan Fox and Brian Austin Green never appeared in the scene together. It was actually Kelly Ripa that touched mouths with Brian Austin Green during the episode. Kelly Ripa is so, let me write that down. Because her story is also really interesting. And fuck, is she fit? Damn it. So Megan Fox said this in an interview about their first interaction ever. Ready? So everyone was around the monitor watching the scene. So when you're on set, you can replay what was just filmed on a little TV. That's a pretty good explanation, right? Don't look at me like I'm stupid. There are people who are 16 on here, okay? And at the age of 26, someone had to ask me, can you get me a C-stand? And I was like this. So whatever. So their legs touched while they were watching the monitor. Everyone was around the monitor watching a scene, and Brian accidentally touched my leg. I remember literal electricity shooting through me and out of me from every direction. So she said this in November 2009. I liked him right away, she added. It was like magic. I want to say this about Megan Fox, though. I did a video about Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly, whose real name is easily accessible, but I don't want to pause this video. But it was about their breakup and how he has a lot of demons that he kind of needs to face. And like most people, he has a lot of therapy probably that he has to experience before he's ready for something really stable. And I said, you should work on yourself because you could fumble Megan Fox. And a lot of people, and she went on TV and said that was her soulmate, and then she feels like she manifested him at the age of 4. And I just want to say that there were a lot of comments that were like, well, she does this with everybody. So the fuck to you? Have you ever had, not even love, a crush on someone? So the fuck to you? God forbid someone's a lover girl today. God forbid somebody believes in the magic of love. Whenever people like clown other people for being excited, for being in love, it really grinds my gears. You're going to act like you've never fallen in love with a shitty person? Because I see the line cook TikTok videos too. Oh, when you fall in love with the line cook, who told you to do that? But she can't fall in love with a tall man. You know how many tall men? Okay, whatever. I fell in love with. Okay. Anyway, though she was just 18 years old and, quote, too young to have watched 90210, not quotations, she was. Fox later admitted that she knew he was gorgeous and I wanted to get to know him better. What else does a bitch need? At first, you're hot, you touch my leg, we go together real bad. However, Brian Austin Green initially ignored his feelings for Megan at first. Sure, the age difference also, played a little bit of a part. But he went on Fox when they'd already been together for quite some time, I think already like 10 years. And he said, I just got out of a relationship when I met her. I didn't want to get into a new one. And he was like, this just can't fucking happen. This isn't going to happen. No way. And it's funny. I kept pushing her away early on. They always say this. She came on to me. Like, they always say this. Right? I do it every series. Tell us all this time. It's funny, I kept pushing her away early on because I was like, I don't want a relationship. And then she was like, well, cool, I'm going to go date. And then Megan says in an Elle magazine interview, I had to convince him that I was slightly more responsible and well-spoken and other things to bring to the table besides being 18. Girls, I can't tell you, like, okay, I mentioned it every fucking video too. I don't care. It's true. I grew up in Miami, right? And for some reason, even though it was the 90s, not that long ago, look at me. I look like a spring chicken. I would have friends in the 7th grade, so we're 12, maybe 13, who had boyfriends who were 21, 22, 23. And it was normal. I think they would come to our school dances. And like, or like even pick them up from school. Like their parents would write the boyfriend's name on the parent pickup from middle school. So, but these girls, I remember having conversations because I wasn't allowed to date, and the boys that I had crushes on were in my grade, you know? So they would tell me about these experiences, and they would say like, well, he says I'm not like other girls, and like, well, he loves history, so I got a book from the library, our school library. And I've been reading about history, like, and he says, I'm so well spoken. And he says, wow, I don't think like other girls. This is tell us all this time. So when Megan Fox said, okay, fine, then I'm just going to go on a date. I'm going to let this go. Brian was like, no, wait. He says it was that moment that he was like, fuck, I think I really like her. I'm really into this situation. To provide some context, Vanessa Marcel, who is Brian Austin Green's ex-partner, has voiced that she believes that Megan Fox was groomed. So she was with Brian from 1993 to 2003, and they share a child together. She has alluded that Brian and Megan have excluded her child from their lives. She's also said on social media that Brian started grooming her at 17. When they began their relationship and started giving quotes, people were also, it definitely emphasized their age gap when Megan Fox would casually say like, well, I was too young to know what like 90210 was. I've never seen an episode. Brian Austin Green told Vulture this while they were still together. She tries to sneak them, his shows, on SoapNet, and then she gets in trouble for it. We have a rule. We don't watch each other's stuff. That would be the only rule I don't have. If I was a movie star, you have to watch my stuff. I'm sorry. If Keith Urban can sit through Baby Girl with Nicole, you can watch Friends with Kids or whatever, okay? Mind you, this is me watching Baby Girl. This is a note from Olive, my research assistant. Everyone say thank you, Olive. And then he pretends to be too cool for his past. Quote, honestly, it's just one big blur. We did 300. I remember guest stars more than storylines. And Brian Austin Green didn't keep any memorabilia from the show either. The only thing that I have is a picture that we took with Aaron Spelling when we won the People's Choice Award. He got the award. We got a picture with the award. It's kind of fucked up, but I guess he is the one that won it. There aren't many pictures of the couple, but things really start to heat up between 2005 and 2006 for them. Here they are at an event for Kevin Spacey. Kevin, when I say we were all rooting for you, pay it forward. 7. I watched Outbreak in biology every year. And also in 2020, I don't know why I did that to myself. Here they are at a Beverly Hills 90210 and Melrose Place DVD launch party in 2010. I'm sure they had Blu-ray. In November 2006, they get engaged. Megan Fox and Brian Austin Green Part 2. So they get engaged November 2006, and they're pretty quiet about their relationship. But they did have plans to get married. Brian Austin Green shared in an interview that the ceremony would be small, I'm sure. And they were originally talking about elopement, but now they might have a few people there. Cool guy. And still, he said, don't expect a lot of hoopla surrounding the big day. You might hear about it a week after. I don't know why he's annoying me so much. Like, Megan Fox has admitted in hindsight she probably shouldn't have been in such a serious relationship at such a young age. Me too, bitch. In a 2008 article of GQ, she told the magazine she was once in love with a female stripper. Fox, who appears on the October cover in a black bikini, said she was in a relationship when she was 18 and first living alone in Los Angeles. Well, that year, my boyfriend broke up with me and I decided, oh man, sorry, mommy, that I was in love with this girl that worked at the body shop. I decided that I was going to get her to love me back, and I went out of my way to create a relationship with this girl, this stripper named Nikita. Fox said Nikita would do these beautiful slow dances to Aerosmith ballads that would get me too. Steven Tyler, voice of an angel. The actress also said she would bring this Russian dancer gifts to try to inspire her to quit her line of work. She said Megan Fox being like, no, she likes me about a stripper is just not what I expected. From like, I don't know, James visiting New York from Kissimmee. Yeah, probably, but whatever. She said she did a lot of like falling in love with other people all of the time over the course of her relationship with Beverly Hills 90210 alum. I would go to work and fall in love because I was a kid. I never had the full freedom to be single and experience that life. I was not great because I was young and really should not have been in a relationship of that level of commitment and that magnitude. I should not have been involved in that when I was 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. I just should not have been. Yeah. And Brian Austin Green agrees. He said on a podcast that one of the things that led to their divorce was the fact that he began dating her when she was 18 and he already had a son. Yeah, dude. So he said, like she didn't get to experience being single. And she was a young woman at the top of her game, and she was really starting to feel the magnitude of like commitment. At the time, Megan Fox has become an incredible star that I've never kissed. Till now. So she of course had been in like Hope and Faith, like we talked about, where her and BAG first met. And then she was in Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen opposite Lindsay Lohan. She's a background dancer in Bad Boys, and she's 15 at the club in an American flag bikini, I believe, in a cowboy hat, if I'm not mistaken. And then she was also in Holiday in the Sun, I believe, with the Olsen twins, right? But her breakout role was Transformers. I actually saw Transformers the day it premiered at midnight at Sunset Place Mall in Miami with my then boyfriend. And when this scene came up, he let go of my hand. Oh, you think Megan Fox you think she might be like, wait, he has a girlfriend. Shut the fuck up. Also, that happened to me a second time with another boyfriend when we were watching The Wolf of Wall Street, and when Margot Robbie is naked, he let go of my hand. What the fuck is wrong? You guys have to have the same worm as RFK, like literally. She's 21 when this film is being made. She famously had a bad relationship with director Michael Bay. So Fox, relatively unknown upon her casting as Michaela Barnes, appeared in a brief uncredited cameo in Bad Boys 2. What'd I say? Okay, fine. I didn't say Bad Boys 2. She said that when she was 15, was being filmed by Bay wearing a bikini, so Michael Bay filmed her for Bad Boys 2. Got it. Wearing a bikini and dancing under a waterfall as a test scene for which Fox appears as an extra in a club in the 2003 film. Again, she was 15 at the time, and since it was illogical for her to be sitting at a bar as originally intended at the club, because she was 15, Bay pivoted her to have a sexually suggestive object under the waterfall. The actor describes this instant as a microcosm microcosm of how Bey's mind works, she told Jimmy Kimmel in 2009. In an interview for Wonderland magazine in 2009 that Tefi Pessoa bought at Barnes & Noble and drooled over for many, many years, the same year as her appearance on the Jimmy Kimmel Show, Fox likened the director's authoritarian alpha male style of filmmaking to Adolf Hitler. In addition to also comparing him to Napoleon, Fox states he wants to create this insane, infamous madman reputation. She concludes that he is a nightmare to work with, that he is a gentle and kind individual, but describes so with the backhanded label of Bey being hopelessly awkward. A report in The Observer in 2009 said that Fox was asked to wash Bey's car as part of her audition for Transformers, and this sparked further outrage over her treatment of Bey. Megan Fox then cleared things up about this. She refuted suggestions that her Transformers audition was exploitative, saying that she was 19 or 20 and that she was at no point undressed or anything similar. I was not underage at the time. I was not made to wash or work on someone's car in a way that was extraneous to the script. But Shia LaBeouf, haven't said that name in a long time. God damn it. That's another series for another day. Megan Fox developed this Spice Girl strength. Okay, I like that. Stop it, Shia. This woman empowerment stuff that made her feel awkward about her involvement with Michael, who some people think is a very lascivious filmmaker. Dude, the way he films women. Mike films women in a way that appeals to a 16-year-old sexuality. It's summer. It's Michael's style. And I think that she never got really comfortable with it. This is a girl who was taken from complete obscurity. Okay. She was literally in Holiday in the Sun. Okay. And placed in a sex-driven role in front of the whole world. And she was the sexiest woman in America overnight. And she had a hard time accepting this. When Mike would ask her to do specific things, there was no time for fluffy talk. I guess like encouragement and like a pep talk. We're on the run. And that's one thing Mike lacks is tact. There's no time for, I would just like you to arch your back 70 degrees. But the damage had been done. This outburst made big news and prompted 3 unnamed Transformers crew members to write a scathing letter excoriating. Let me look up a fucking adjective. What are these words? Like, what are these basic high school vocabulary words? Okay. Heavily critical. That's better. A scathing letter heavily critical of Fox as a thankless, classless, graceless, unfriendly bitch. Okay. Who shows up late, is rude to the crew, and cannot act. Although he claimed to not condone the crew's letter, Michael Bey posted the anonymous screed to his website, which led skeptics to believe that he may have written it himself. Isn't that something Napoleon would do, though? Isn't that? Didn't it come out that like Napoleon Dynamite was like 5'10", like average height, but his enemies wanted people to think he was little, so they started the rumor that he was like 5'3". You know what's not a rumor? Tory Lanez is 5'3". Okay, so then Megan Fox is replaced in Transformers. So she's contractually obligated to do the first 2 Transformers, and then Michael Bay says that Steven Spielberg implored that she be replaced. Her reps then made a statement saying it was not her decision to leave and she wishes the franchise the best. But it seems that they have repaired the relationship since, because in 2014, she did the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that he directed. So to top off all this Transformers drama, people did believe that Megan and Shia were romantically linked during this time. To top off the Transformers drama, everybody assumed and believed that Megan Fox and Shia LaBeouf were romantically linked during this time when they were working on the films together. Shia says this in an interview: look, you're on the set for 6 months with someone who's rooting to be attracted to you, and you're rooting to be attracted to them. I never understood the separation of work and life in that situation, but see, the time I spent with Megan was our own thing, and I think you can see that chemistry on screen. We didn't use a condom. No, I'm just kidding. I added that. Part 3, Megan Fox and Shia LaBeouf. Shia continues the interview, okay, that during this time, he was not sure of Fox's relationship status. I think it was, she was engaged. So he says this: I don't know, man. It was what it was. Okay. So Megan Fox is tight-lipped, obviously, about the situation until she sees Andy Cohen at Watch What Happens Live. Andy Cohen asks Megan Fox, your Transformers co-star Shia LaBeouf affirmed that he had a romantic relationship with you on set. How would you characterize your relationship then? And she says, I mean, I would confirm that it was romantic. I love him, and I have never really been really quiet about that. I love him. Cohen then asked her to clarify if it was an on-set romance that didn't go anywhere afterwards. And she said, yeah, period. It's 2009. Megan Fox is named the sexiest woman alive. If she had 1 million votes, 900,000 of them are me. Yeah, she hosted SNL and she can't step outside of her house without being hounded by paparazzi. So that same year, Megan Fox does a profile with Rolling Stone, and it gives a lot of insight of where she was mentally. Several hours later, looking just as glossy as ever, she finds herself sitting in a straight back chair, arms and legs crossed, saying, I'm really insecure about everything. I never think I'm worthy of anything. Like what those reporters said about the movie, all I could think was, they're mocking me. And she leans forward. I have a sick feeling of being mocked all the time. I have a lot of self-loathing. She continues about her relationship. Well, self-loathing doesn't keep me from being happy. I have a lot of things to be happy about, but that doesn't mean I don't struggle. I am very vulnerable, but I can be aggressive, hurtful, domineering, and selfish. I'm emotionally unpredictable and all over the place. I am a control freak. My temper is ridiculously bad. I've destroyed the house. I have gone batshit. I've said to Brian, you have to go and stop talking to me because I'm going to kill you. I'm going to stab you with something. Please leave. And I'll never own a puke for that reason. I would shoot to unalive, but I would shoot him in the leg for sure. So then when she's on Watch What Happens Live, Andy Cohen follows up about this quote about her, destroying the house. And she's like, well, that was hyperbolic. But the worst thing she's ever done is I got mad and took a bunch of paint and I painted a Nietzsche quote all over the walls. So he had to repaint his house afterwards. It was a really angry quote about how life is futile and you suck, basically. With all this being said, they call off their engagement later. February 2009, a source reveals to People magazine that they are no longer together. If you've been watching my series for a while, you know that whenever I hear a source, I think of Kris Jenner. So I'm just going to say Kris Jenner from here on out. Kris Jenner told Us Weekly that the actors are just focused on their careers. And then their publicist released basically every publicist's greatest hit of a statement saying that they're calling out the engagement, they're going to remain great friends, whatever. They respect each other and they hope to remain friends, whatever. And they will look back fondly on their time together, etc. AKA she shot him in the leg probably, but whatever. In June of that year, Fox told Us Weekly via Glamour that marriage isn't a realistic goal for someone who is 23. Truesies. I want to concentrate on becoming a better person before I try to commit to being someone else's wife. And then at the London premiere of Transformers that same June, Megan Fox told reporters, not me slipping into my Glorilla accent, she told reporters, I'm currently single. I guess that's what you would call it. I know I'm not capable at this point in my life of being a good partner or a good wife. And that's like a joke. We're sort of trying to figure out what our relationship is. Shia is probably my favorite person in the entire world. He's just my favorite. She looks at the camera. She goes, I love you, Shia. And he's also like super handsome. Girl. No wonder he didn't say anything about your relationship status at the time. You painted that man's house while you were fucking Shia LaBeouf? I'm inspired. But Shia LaBeouf was also spotted right before this all came out holding hands with Carey Mulligan. Brian Austin Green says this in another interview later on. She went through an enormous change in her life, just her career in general. He said this to Access Hollywood. She went through the natural period of, I'm not sure if I'm ready to be in such a settled relationship, but we just never really went in different directions. We'd say, oh, let's kind of take a break and see what's going on. But then we just always got back together, and back together they did get. In the summer of 2009, they are seen together once again. I am no stranger to spinning the block either, Meg. Okay. Here they are in July, 4 months after calling off the engagement. But September of 2009, the Daily Mail clocked her. Transformers star Megan, who recently told the world she was single and not capable of being a good partner to anyone, was pictured shopping in Toronto, Canada, yesterday with Brian. By late 2009, Jennifer's Body came out, and it's so genius. I love Jennifer's Body so much. Whenever I walk into a new apartment, I say, "It smells like Thai food in here. Have you guys been fucking?" Because there are so... Diablo Cody wrote Jennifer's Body, and she also wrote Juno with Elliot. What's his name? Elliot. He's in Hard Candy too. Elliot. Stop yelling at me. Elliot Page. Okay, anyway. Genius writer. Jennifer's Body is so good, but it wasn't a commercial or critical success. And I think it's because they were used to Megan Fox being Michaela Barnes. And this was a smart role, a funny role, and she's eating boys. God forbid girls can't have hobbies anymore. Ugh. Also, Adrian Brody in that movie wearing eyeliner. Oh! Tefi lack. So with the commercial and critical failure of Jennifer's Body, her team was reportedly really concerned about her longevity in her career. So the New York Times wrote that in November 2009. In the last month, Fox and her team, her agent, Chuck James, and her publicist, Leslie Sloan, Zelnick, and Dominique Appel, have grown increasingly nervous about her media image. The lack of success of Jennifer's Body highlighted their concern. The outrageousness that made Fox an instant star was not attracting a paying audience, especially among females. You guys barely did marketing or any kind of press tour for Jennifer's Body either. And when I was in Miami, they were playing in like indie theaters for like independent film. Like this is not Megan Fox. I love Jennifer's Body. Fuck off. I actually won tickets off Power 96. I called 14 times. That's how much I wanted to see Jennifer's Body. And I loved it. And she hooks up with Amanda Seyfried. What more do you want from me? The outrageousness that made Fox an instant star was not attracting a paying audience, especially among females. They were hoping that hosting SNL and some recent appearances on talk shows on which she seemed demure, look at that, might help to change the dialogue about Fox from the out of control sex bomb to the Fox they know, who is a homebody with a longtime boyfriend and a fondness for spending Saturday nights at Red Lobster, where she likes the cheese biscuits. Duh. Who fucking doesn't? But she has said this many, many times, that she is a big homebody. You know, that she's like barely leaves the house, that she's not this like, doesn't it give Marilyn? How Marilyn's like, I'm actually really shy. And they're like, and the world was like, tits, tits, tits. She's like, no, I'm shy. I'm like smart. I take acting really seriously. Tits, 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 because women. But did you hear what was said November 2009? With her longtime boyfriend. Confirmed, back together. In another interview, same month, same year, Megan Fox says, "It's been a crazy year. I've learned that being a celebrity is like being a sacrificial lamb. At some point, no matter how high the pedestal they put you on, they're going to tear you down. And I created a character as an offering for the sacrifice." Such an odd choice of words. It's giving Illuminati. No? But critical thinking, and I'm not, rotting my brain cells on YouTube every night, so I'm just going to stick to the metaphor. I'm not willing to give my true self up. It's a testament to my real personality that I would go so far as to make up another personality to give to the world. The reality is I'm hidden amongst all the insanity and nobody can find me. She is so poetic. She is. All of my research assistant titled this next piece, Megan Fox is a child bride. Part 4, Megan Fox and Brian Austin Green. So they get re-engaged. What was I going to say? Oh, the day. So it's June 16th, 2010. They announced their engagement and that Brian re-proposed out of 4 seasons in Hawaii. She's 24, he's 36. Here is a picture of the hotel where he proposed at. I would give anything to be at this beach right now. If you saw the color of my legs currently, you would think I was in a bunker for a decade. Okay. People Mag confirms that her rep said, yeah, she's engaged. But a witness saw this proposal happen and said, somehow they lost the ring. I saw her jumping up and down. Later, I saw a half a dozen staff sifting through the sand. Security and maintenance staff spent a couple of hours looking for it. No one found it. If that's not a sign, if that's not God, Buddha, Abraham, Yahweh, what do you want? So they also got married during the same vacation in Maui. Here's the People magazine coverage of the wedding. On June 24th, the pair quietly tied the knot in a romantic sunset ceremony on the beach in Hawaii. According to the Daily Mail, the Four Seasons Maui, where The White Lotus was filmed, with only Green's 8-year-old son, Cassius, the son he shares with Vanessa Marcel, bearing witness to the nuptials. They texted their parents the news that evening. They didn't need anything extravagant. Megan didn't want tons of flowers or diamonds, says Kris Jenner, close to the couple. They just wanted it simple. As the Armani-clad bride, 24, walked barefoot down the sandy aisle to join... I'm going to start this over. As the Armani-clad bride, 24, walked barefoot down a sandy aisle to join Green, 37, on the beach at the Four Seasons. And I'm not going to say this indigenous name because I'm going to fuck it up and I won't be able to sleep tonight. But the Four Seasons, it was clear that they had accomplished that goal. They were beyond happy and they seemed so comfortable. They decided a long time ago that they belonged with each other. Here's Cassius. So cute. He looks a lot like his mom. A lot. While Green... Look who's officiating the wedding. Okay. While Green kept it casual in Emporio Armani, this is branded. This is branded. Okay. Whatever. Fox stopped fretting about the 16-foot train on her custom-made silk Georgette Armani Privé gown. So they engaged. If you had a custom-made gown and you got married in the same vacation, not even 10 days later, you got engaged in front of people for show. No? I'm blaming Brian because of who I am as a person. It was so big she couldn't keep it off the ground, but she did need it for her image, right? They wanted to like get her roles that weren't like so like, I'm gonna fuck you, you know? It was so big she couldn't keep it off the ground, so she just let it go and ran through the sand to the altar. She wasn't going to worry about the little things. A local Hawaiian priest wed the couple at sunset, while Cassius, as best man, helped with the rings. Cassius was also given a special jade bracelet blessed with ocean water, and the three were symbolically joined together as a family. Meanwhile, my stepmom didn't even want me in the pictures. I would have loved a jade bracelet blessed by the ocean water. They were on a high, says Kris Jenner. They let everything go and enjoyed the fact that they were getting married. And while Cassius returned home after 2 days, the newlyweds stayed on for a week-long honeymoon during which they swam with dolphins, relaxed on the beach, and got used to being Mr. and Mrs. They both had this giddiness, says Kris Jenner. She kept looking at him in disbelief like, I can't believe you're my husband. Girl, we can't believe it either. I like sharing my life with somebody, Brian Austin Green told People in 2006. Now that he and Fox have swapped rings, a gold band for him and a simple diamond-studded one for her, one for whatever, there's more. This is more than they could ever ask for. Brian said it was absolutely perfect. Here's another shot of the family while they were getting married. She looks beautiful. She looks beautiful. And he's there. Here's Megan Fox, July of 2010, and either they found that ring or they got her a new one. That's a nice ring. In September of 2010, it seems like she talked a lot about how happy she was being married. So at least it seems like she was happy, at least publicly. The Jennifer's Body actress wasn't afraid to discuss her newfound happiness a few months later. Getting married was the best thing I've ever done, she told People. While the couple attended the Toronto International Film Festival premiere in 2012. I married my best friend. I'm so lucky to get to be with him every day, and he's my protector. I'm so lucky to get to be with him. Oh, I said that already. I feel so safe and happy and completed. Brian Green adds this. Marriage is the one thing that I was really specific in waiting for until I was with somebody that I knew would be right, that I'd be right with, and she's the one. I knew that as soon as she turned 18. I'm just kidding. She makes me happy and a better person. She is everything. She also talked about her marriage with Elle magazine. When I talk about my husband, Brian Austin Green, I feel as if people roll their eyes. I feel like it's like when you're 16 and you order a martini and the waiter says, "Do you think I'm stupid?" They can't grasp that I'm old enough to be married. Isn't hindsight funny, Meg? Okay. In 2012, she continued on with her public love fest for her now husband, Brian Austin Green. I truly feel like he's my soulmate. She told this to Cosmo. I don't want to sound corny or cliche, but I do believe we are destined to live this part of our lives together. Ooh. Choice of words there. Okay. April of 2012, Meg confirms that she is pregnant with their first child together. She tells Ellen DeGeneres, remember that name? You just had to be a bitch. You couldn't have been nice and had one of my favorite TV shows go on forever. No. The first one wasn't planned, she told Ellen. We can't let Brian Austin Green near me anymore because every time, ... So he's 38, she's 25 at this time, and she's expressed wanting to have kids many times throughout her career. And she said, like, I want maybe 2, possibly 3. And she has told Cosmo magazine in an interview, like, I've always been maternal. I really want children. She told Jay Leno about her morning sickness. She says that while most of her pregnancy was perfect, her first trimester was filled with horrible morning sickness. It was so bad for me, actually. I was convinced that I was maybe birthing a vampire baby, like the one from Twilight. You know what happens to Bella, where she's in cold sweats all the time? I feel like that was happening to me because I had no vitamins or nutrients. I was just nauseous, and that is so something I would say. I fucking love Twilight. Okay. October 2012, she announces on Facebook that she has given birth. I gave birth to our son, Noah Shannon Green, on September 27th. He is healthy, happy, and perfect. We are humbled to have the opportunity to call ourselves the parents of this beautiful soul, and I am forever grateful to God for allowing me to know this kind of boundless, immaculate love. So, she said in an interview, I was so surprised that I could leave my house and go to the hospital to give birth without paparazzi everywhere, and then everyone told her it's because Reese Witherspoon had a baby before you. Oh! She says this to Fox. Reese went into labor the day before I did, and all the paparazzi followed her to Santa Monica. So I went into labor. I went to Cedars Medical Center, and nobody cared or knew I was there, so I got in and out. I left the next day, and nobody knew, and it was a big secret for like 3 weeks. And she said that she didn't realize how much work having an infant was going to be. Everybody always says that. And it's like, how? Well, she didn't hire any help at home, right? So she was doing it all alone. And that her and Brian were exhausted and devoted to their little one. I have always wanted to mother things, and I constantly had a doll I was taking care of. Me too, girl. When my brother was born, they brought him home. I said, thank you for my baby to my mom. I don't receive the same satisfaction from my career as I do from being a mother, so I'm really happy. All I've wanted to do my whole life is have a baby, and now I've finally done it. I just want to give Noah as much of myself as I can, but I want to have more kids, and that is where my heart is. But 2 weeks ago, I said to Brian, we have to get a night nurse or we're going to get a divorce. You know, I told my mom I was going to get a night nurse if I ever get pregnant. She was like, absolutely fucking not. Okay, girl, then you do it. Okay. So she's exhausted, right? 10 months. 10 months after giving birth to Noah, she has another baby. 10 months. Girl. She says, I got pregnant with Bodhi 2 weeks after filming Ninja Turtles, which is an action movie and requires a lot of running and jumping and stunts. And anybody that's been pregnant knows your first trimester can be pretty rough and you're nauseous all day long. Well, you said that, you know, you felt like you were giving birth to Renesmee, and I get that. And as I mentioned previously, Michael Bay was a director for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So she said this to the New York Times. I had to write out 2 years of very negative press. There's this perception that I was sort of thrown out of Hollywood. I need a Celsius. Hold on. Okay. There's this perception that I was thrown out of Hollywood. The positive thing was that it forced me to be very introspective and go, you were not totally right in this situation, Megan. I reached out to him and we had a very genuine exchange. From that point forward, it was good. So I spent the whole shoot, basically the producers would come to see me in the morning in the makeup trailer and I'd be clinging to a box of saltines and we kept pickles in the refrigerator for me and I was just constantly on the verge of vomiting. Megan Fox then talks to ABC News about her second pregnancy. I don't have time to think about it. I have a 1-year-old running around and then when you're working like 16 hours a day, there's no time for you at all. I don't know how she did it. My intestines would have fallen out of my vagina. Like, I don't think please. I almost canceled an event, like an appearance or whatever, because I had a splinter. Well, I was Googling and it could get really infected and I could have lost my finger. Whatever. Anyway, so Bodhi's born, Bodhi Ransom Green, and she says on Instagram, thank you, God, for blessing us with the most divine gift of our baby son, introducing Bodhi Rain Palmer Ransom Green. Okay. Hey, that's fine. I'm Estefania. What am I going to say to you? Lovingly and naturally last night. Naturally. Oh. Okay, this is me after one labor pain. Ready? Say, oh, your contraction. Drugs! That's me. That's me immediately. I know it. Bodhi is in Buddhism. This is a quote from her. It's the point where Buddha became enlightened and he reached nirvana when he was sitting beneath the Bodhi tree. She added that she would be lying if she didn't admit that she was also influenced by Patrick Swayze's character in the greatest movie of all time, Point Break. And you know what? That is a good fucking movie. I miss you so much, Patrick. August 2015, Megan Fox announces her split from Brian Austin Green. 5 years of marriage and 11 years total of being together. They hadn't been seen publicly for quite some time, but he was on Bravo's Flipping Out filming and everything seemed copacetic. You like that? I just learned that the other day. Everything seemed copacetic. Here's a quote. As shown by the premiere episode, which aired on July 1st, the star was working with the show's hosts, Jeff Lewis and Jenny Poulos, to renovate a Camarillo home intended for him, Fox, and their 2 sons to live in, not to flip. Sounds fine, right? Right. Except the first eyebrow raise came when viewers realized that Fox not once made an appearance on the show with her husband. Not only that, but when Lewis or Poulos asked about her, Brian Austin Green seemed to keep the conversation at minimum. Okay, fine. Busy schedules, of course. Privacy, whatever. However, now Kris Jenner tells E! News that while Megan was never slated to be on the show, you can probably draw your own conclusions as to why she didn't make an appearance. A source, Kris Jenner, confirms this. Megan had separated from Brian by the time of filming. They decided on it maybe 6 months ago, and things had been very rocky. The source, apparently Kris Jenner, would not elaborate further. That's so good of her. And everyone should have seen it coming. Here she is at the premiere of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And she says this on the carpet. You can't live in a fantasy land and think that everything's going to be perfect all the time. You will go through phases where you're just not getting along and you're not communicating well. That's going to happen. It's going to feel impossible to you sometimes. It might not even make sense to you sometimes. Arguments are normal. Okay. Then with Entertainment Tonight, she shares some details about her love life. She says, Brian doesn't get any intimacy whatsoever. Man, your lack of media training is something that I love so much. Then she goes on The View and she tells the ladies of The View, like, Noah sleeps in the bed with us. And then she says, and Brian wants another kid because he doesn't do any of the work. And then the Daily Mail, soon after, comes out with this article where, like, Megan Fox is ruining her marriage because she wants to work. She's obsessed with getting roles. Sacre bleu! How could she? A woman! Dreams, aspirations with a vagina. He's crazy. And then other people are like, well, Brian is jealous of her career because she's filming the sequel to Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtle. The turtle movie. Don't make me say it. No. This is interesting because in 2016, the New York Times did an interview with her. And she says this: I know that idea is very strange because usually actresses are all ambition and are driven to achieve and they're workaholics for the most part, but I've never been that way. Mentirosa. I'm not necessarily very passionate about acting per se. I don't feel validated by being on set or making a movie. I have a lot of fun making these movies, but it's not a representation of my innermost being. And then they decide to separate, okay? They will always love each other very much and are devoted to their kids and will always look back on their time fondly and there's no ill will and they will, please respect their privacy at this time, blah, 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 blah. Hey, Macarena, like the whole fucking thing. But then, 8 months after she files for divorce, April 2016, she announces her pregnancy, her third. She goes on a red carpet and boom, bump. And her reps had no comment. Crazy. I love you, Will Arnett. Obviously, the media goes crazy. So Megan Fox goes on Instagram, decides to be petty because now everyone is like, who's the father? Who's the father? Well, she's divorced. So she does a bunch of she does a picture with a collage of a bunch of her old co-stars and hashtags it not the father. So Shia, Will Arnett. And so she doesn't piece, she talks to People magazine and she doesn't say who the father is. It's obviously Brian Austin Green, whatever. But I understand, maybe she's embarrassed that she keeps coming back to him, but whatever, as if I would ever judge you, girl, that much. Please, but she says, all she says about the pregnancy to People is it's just crazy that at my age I'm having a baby. It's just insane because I'm 43. So when Megan found out she was pregnant, apparently, allegedly, Brian Austin Green made a lot of steps towards reconciliation. He was like, I want my family back, And it worked. Around spring 2016, they moved back in together. Then she tells E! News, we're not getting divorced anytime soon. Here's a quote. Brian and Megan have been working on themselves as individuals and things have gotten far better between them as a couple. They have been getting along great. They're best friends and they know each other very, very well. Added. And the couple has a huge physical attraction that went away. Well, yeah, obviously. Duh. That's probably the only reason she keeps coming back. Do that thing you do. Okay, sorry. Then Megan Fox does a very Megan Fox thing where she goes on Jimmy Kimmel. She always talks about this, I'm also very woo-woo. I just don't think I would talk about it publicly or as publicly as she does because people are assholes. So she goes on Jimmy Kimmel Live and then she tells Jimmy, I know I can communicate telepathically with this child. So then, of course, people are like, this bitch is crazy. He said this. If you don't hear an audible voice, I feel like you receive messages from the child if you are open to it. For instance, this baby wanted me to live somewhere else, so we're moving to a whole different place in Los Angeles because I feel like that's where this baby wants to be raised. I understand mother-child connection, and that doesn't sound too crazy to me at all, but of course, people are foaming at the mouth. She's delusional. She's crazy. She's not fit to be a mother. Whatever. During the same appearance, though, on Jimmy Kimmel, he showed paparazzi photos of her family where her sons are wearing dresses. And this is a big... Whenever I talk about Megan Fox, they always bring this up. Okay, I'll get into it. Part 6, Megan Fox and Brian Austin Green. I know this is a picture with Will Arnett. It's at a red carpet. It's just a placeholder. Okay, so during the same appearance, Megan Fox... is shown paparazzi photos of her sons wearing dresses. And Jimmy Kimmel is like, what's up with this? So Megan Fox explains, I was raised in a very, very strict Pentecostal household where you were told what men can wear and what women can wear. And that she doesn't want her house to be like that. That if her son is like, mommy, you wear dresses, I want to wear dresses. She's like, put on a dress. She's like, you can be whoever you want in my house. And people foam at the mouth of that. What fucking ever. whatever. I don't think it's that big of a fucking deal, to be honest. I also love that she's instilling, like, there's no shame about it. Like, these kids are being photographed and they have the confidence, you know what I mean, to be like, whatever. Because I'm sure going to school and having access to, like, the media, they understand probably, you know, that most boys don't wear skirts. Just the really cool ones. No, I'm just kidding. But I just, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, truly. And people are like, well, she's forcing her kids to wear dresses. I truly don't think so. So August 4th, 2016, Megan Fox gives birth to Journey River Green, and things seem to be going really well with the couple. And for the next few years, they keep everything really, really private. They don't do a lot of public appearances together. And then Brian Austin Green gets a podcast and starts talking about his relationship. And in one of the podcast episodes, he says, marriage is hard. It's work. I think for anyone. I think when you get to the point like we have, where you have kids and you've been married for a while and you've been together for a long time, it's just you take it day by day. He also hinted towards their 2015 split. I have no problem with saying, with something not working. And I really hold no expectations. Liar. I'm sorry, I called you a liar. I just think that's a bit of a fib. You know, you don't get married without any expectations. Whatever. I try to live day by day. Some people look at a divorce or things not working as like a disappointment, and it's not. The fact that it worked at all is a positive. We have 3 amazing kids. We've had and have a great relationship. And, you know, we're just taking it day by day. In 2018, Fox, who's now, when she was 31, spoke to Us Weekly while promoting her Forever 21 collaboration. She touched on how her and her husband of 8 years managed to get some alone time. We don't do it often, but when we went to Nobu for Valentine's Day, that was so nice. The thing about that, it's so essential. And you remember why you like this person that you had kids with. I wonder if they read these interviews back and they're like, like, when you have so many people pulling at you and needing stuff, you kind of forget. You become like business partners, and then you go on a date and you're like, oh my God, I'm so attracted to you. And I'm going to try to do that more often. Then in 2019, Megan Fox officially files to dismiss their divorce case 3 years after they file. And then they had gone 5 years without a public appearance. And I think this was their last one. Yeah. May 18th, 2020, they split for good. Brian Austin Green says that they actually started to split 2019, but they didn't comment on it for privacy reasons. But rumors of the split really started because Megan Fox started to be seen with Mr. Machine Gun Kelly when they were filming a movie together called Switchgrass. Didn't Lala's baby daddy, what's his fucking name? Randall, produced that movie, and it was like a huge flop, whatever. Anyway, so then COVID happens during filming. So they start filming and then COVID, and they're shut down, and they've already made this connection. Brian reveals later on that while Megan was away for 5 weeks filming this, he had a dream that they had split. About 3 weeks into her being gone and shooting, I had a dream, which most people dream, but I don't ever remember my dreams. But I had this dream that she came back from work and that we were distant and things were off and that things were weird. And the next day he texted her about his dream, and she was shocked by his experience and assured him that everything was fine. Meanwhile, Machine Gun Kelly says this: our trailers were next to each other, so I just waited outside on my trailer steps every day. A married woman with 3 children. Every day I work to just catch one glimpse of eye contact. She has the most gorgeous eyes I've ever seen. Megan continues in the same interview. The second I was in a room with him and said hello to him, we locked eyes. I knew right away what he was, and I called him a twin flame. We're actually 2 halves of the same soul, I think. I said that to him almost immediately. I felt right away. After he said, I am weed. No? Whatever. Okay. In May of 2020, Brian Austin Green confirms that he and Fox have broken up during an episode of his podcast. He explained that he felt distant from Fox for months and shared that the two had discussed their marriage once Fox returned home from filming this movie, Midnight in the Switchgrass, whatever. He says that once she returned, she started to act exactly like she did in his dream. But I gave her a few weeks. I figured out, she's been out of the country. She's jet lagged. She's been shooting nights. I have to give her some time to recoup a little bit and get back into a life. So I did. I gave her time. When he confronted her about their perceived distance over text, she told him that they'd talk about it later, which he felt was not a very good sign. She said, I realized when I was out of the country working alone that I feel more myself and I like myself better during that experience. And I think that might be something worth trying for me. And then Austin Brian Green recalls that she said that he was shocked and I was upset about it, but I can't be upset at her because she didn't ask to feel that way. Yeah, feelings aren't your fault, but I feel like you could be a little upset. It wasn't a choice she made, but that's the way she honestly felt. We talked about it a little bit more and said, let's separate for a bit. And we did. Okay. After having a difficult conversation, they decided to take some space apart and figure out what the future holds for them. Okay. After a little bit apart, they realized, you know what, let's break up now because let's not drag this on and create a volatile situation so we can co-parent, And Brian Austin Green said on his podcast, I want to talk out about this because, she's out and about with another person. I don't want her to be vilified because she really didn't do anything wrong. Here's a quote. I don't want this guy Colson, who I have never met, who she said nothing but really kind things about. I don't want him to be vilified either because nobody did anything wrong. It's not like we are separating or anything because somebody cheated or somebody hurt somebody else. I feel like people are on paths in life. Sometimes you're on the same path and you walk that path together and things are working, and then paths just kind of separate sometimes. So he's clarified many times that it was not due to cheating. And I feel like if it was, he would have clarified that many, many, many times as well. But Brian Austin Green says that there were signs. He went on Tori Spelling's Misspelling podcast, and he said that leading up to their divorce, Fox was irked by little things, even down to the way he chewed. So Tori says, I actually witnessed this for the couple. I remember thinking at the time, how bad could it be? She really loves him, and that really bothers her. And then Brian Austin Green said, I think that things just were not great. And everything about me was starting to annoy her. You kind of get to the point where you're the way you're putting on toast in the toaster is driving me crazy. It's all that stupid little stuff. Yeah, one of my mom's really good friends told me that she knew she had to divorce her husband when the way he breathed during sleep made her want to suffocate him. And I was like, that's probably a really good sign that you should divorce, yes. Since the split, they have had some, bad energetic moments. Even though Brian Austin Green insists on his podcast that everything's fine, everything's at peace. But one time he posted his 4-year-old son to Instagram, and Megan Fox was like, you're painting this narrative that I'm an absent mother. 3 days after Megan Fox makes her red carpet debut with Machine Gun Kelly, she files for divorce with Brian. A little while later, Brian Austin Green posts this to Instagram with his new girlfriend, and he captioned it, "It's been a really long time since I've been with someone I can truly share life with." Well, Megan Fox did say in the picture of his child, you're so intoxicated with feeding the pervasive narrative that I'm an absent mother and you're the perennial, eternally dedicated dad of the year. You have them half the time. Congratulations. You truly are a remarkable human. Why do you need the internet to echo back to you what should be inexhaustibly evident in the way that your children love you? But he is very friendly about her in the paparazzi. When Megan and Machine Gun Kelly split, he said that he was heartbroken for her and that MGK needs to grow up because he's having a baby. But they both clarified that they get along great now. I do have this weird feeling that they will get back together, though.